Let's freaking go. We have a glorious Thursday night live stream. We've got a lot to get to and not a lot of time. I listened to a few interviews Brian Kelly has made over the past week. He's done a few with the big local news stations. So I'm going to share what he had to say about Garrett Nussmeier a little bit later. Also, he has pretty much repeated the same thing over and over about Jaden Daniels, about how impressed he is with this growth, how he's gotten bigger, how they're going to try to push the football down the field. So we are definitely going to talk about all of that tonight. Last live stream, we talked a little recruiting, and we will continue to do that tonight as well. Also, I released a tweet earlier today. It's been passed around quite a bit to the point where I posted a video on Instagram, and not one, but two LSU greats both commented, and they are both still balling it up in the NFL. Shout out to Russell Gage and shout out to DJ Chark. I would love to have either one, if not both, on PHL. I am listing the greatest throws of the LSU modern era. So, what I need you to do, no matter where you're watching this, if you're watching this live or if you're watching this 10 years from now, in the comment section after this live stream is over, I'm going to test out a new form of content here. I'm going to need you, and you can do it in the live chat right now as well. What is the best throw of the LSU modern era? Is it 3rd and 17? Is it the Bluegrass Miracle? Is it Rohan Davey in overtime to Royal in versus Tennessee back in 2000? So think of all the great LSU throws from the year 2000. I'm going to consider that the modern era. That's when Saban started. So from the year 2000 to where we are right now, in the comment section down freaking below, let me know the best throws in the history of LSU football. It could be any throw you could possibly think of. There might be some throws that you think are better than others. In fact, I think one throw that should be talked about more is Jamarcus Russell versus Arizona State to early Doucette, a laser on 4th and 10. So there are so many to get to, but obviously, there's a lot of you that have your own opinions on that. There's quite a few Joe Burrow throws you can possibly pick as well. But a little bit later, I am actually going to play the video that I posted on Instagram and Twitter that actually got DJ Chark and Russell Gage to comment on it. I couldn't believe it. I was like, that is so freaking cool. So obviously, I am very happy to obviously see those two people showing some love for patron saint Danny freaking Etling. So we welcome you all in on a glorious live stream evening. What's up, Rob G? Holding it down. Tony the Tiger, what's good? Kenneth wants to talk some Caleb Jackson. We'll get to that. How about that? What's up, Cody? Good to see you. LJ is in the building. Flynn to Burr, 2007. Marcus Randall to Michael Clayton. Interesting. Which one? You tell me. I think the most interesting throw between those two players was the throw before the Bluegrass Miracle that was arguably incomplete, right? That throw, I'm so glad instant replay did not exist. Okay. So that is that's a throw I think about quite a bit, quite honestly. What's good, Carter? I'm going to Orlando. These FSU fans have kicked or ticked me off. Okay, I want to see personally what my Tigers are going to do to FSU. They're saying we don't stand a chance. Oh yeah, Kedrick. I will happily talk about that. Carter, you got to take off the UGA zip up, bro. Kidding me? That's not UGA. This is for Allen Iverson. This is for Eric Snow. I thought you guys would enjoy some vintage LSU or just sports gear, because all I hear about the good old days. I miss the good old days. And I also bet the 76ers plus 2.5. So you guys keep me updated at the end of the third and at the end of the fourth quarter, because obviously I'm going to lose the bet because I actually bet. I shouldn't bet NBA. For some reason, I never hit NBA bets. Never. What's good? Oh, that was kind of weird. I swear to you. So, oh, okay. That's kind of cool. LJ, good to see you. I'll be there, Kedrick. I was there last year, too. They are terrible. So, yeah. Florida State is going to be absolutely insane. I'll be honest with you. So, let's say like 5-10 years ago when Twitter in the college football world really became what Twitter in the college football world is now. So I would say roughly like 2011, 2012 is when Twitter became just a cesspool of college football fandom. Now it's Facebook. Twitter's a little bit better than what it once was in terms of college football fans going nuts. I think college football fans are more civil on Twitter than they are on Facebook. Now on Facebook, there can be some lady named Gertrude and some guy named Rufus telling you that absolutely jack squat. I had a guy threaten me on a Facebook reel not too long ago, and I have no followers on Facebook. I still post live streams to Facebook. I don't know how to grow on Facebook. I don't know what it is. I've got to start doing something on there. Maybe starting a Ponzi scheme. I don't know. But still. But yes, I have heard Florida State fans are ruthless. Most of them that I have dealt with, now I've never been in a game atmosphere with these people, but they have been nothing but nice to me. And I have been invited to not one, but 2 Florida State tailgates, which is kind of strange. But yeah, we're going to have more Florida State guests before then. We had one that actually played at Florida State. It was a lot of fun. It really was. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to the banter. Okay. Good to see you, Simper, with the super chat. I really appreciate your generosity. We say hi to Skipper. What's good? So there you go. Oh, look, I got a Facebook follow. That's great. Yo, I guess you got to beg now to get some Facebook followers. But yeah, I don't know. If you guys know any Facebook groups, post the live stream link in there. So there you go. Now, a few notes. We are posting a lot more content, not only on YouTube Shorts, but on all the other platforms. And I really appreciate all the feedback we've gotten on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all of those. But, okay, this is where I want everything to eventually lead to. These live streams, our great group of LSU fans and fans from other teams that congregate here. I want to say thank you guys for helping me grow on Power Hour SEC. I'm starting to do some team-specific live streams on Power Hour SEC, and you'd be shocked. The 2 fan bases that have shown me the most love is South Carolina and Arkansas, which is just wild to me. Tennessee fans have shown me a lot of love as well. But you want to know the 2 fan bases where my videos struggle? Alabama and Georgia. I promise you, my Alabama and Georgia videos, I don't know what it is. They don't do as well as like some of the smaller schools in the SEC. Starting off with a good question: who have better weapons, Jayden this year or Nuss next year? That's a very good question. I'm actually going to go with Jayden here. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Who will have better weapons, Jaden in 2023 or Nuss in 2024? Type J for Jaden, type N for Nuss. Okay, so let me look at something really quickly. Okay, um, the poll question: have you ever been to an LSU game not at Tiger Stadium or the Superdome? 57% of you say no. That is very interesting. Ellie Mom says, and that's why better weapons. Yeah, I'm going to go with the guy. I am Power Hour LSU on Facebook, but I would prefer you guys just stay on YouTube for right now. I just post that. I just say that aloud just to show some love to Facebook. I don't know if Mark Zuckerberg is listening to me right now, but there you go. Huh? No, I think Jaden's gonna have better weapons. I do, because any offense with Malik Neighbors is probably going to be better than an offense without him. Also, this next offseason, Brian Thomas Jr. is going to be gone, and we'll see. So who is going to step in for those guys? Well, Kyron Lacey would be back. Obviously, Aaron Anderson is still, well, he's got to be around. He's only a year two player. And then, of course, you have Shelton Sampson. It obviously comes down to how you feel about him and Kyle Parker, Jaylen Brown, and Kai Prean. And then, of course, you have two guys that have yet to produce, and a lot of that is due to injury, Landon Ibieta and Chris Hilton. So we'll see. Now, one guy that should be very interesting is Kamarion Pimpton, right? Obviously, Mason Taylor counts for both because he's going to be playing with Jaden for as many years as he's going to play with Nuss. But, man, the simple truth is this. Nuss is going to have plenty of weapons to work with. Now, one thing I could potentially see is Garrett NUSSMEIER has a better set of running backs. And Garrett NUSSMEIER, by that time, could have a better offensive line. None of the guys that will be on LSU's offensive line next year that are going to have higher upside will be draft eligible next year, if that makes sense. So I think our two best offensive linemen is pretty clear. It's Emory Jones and Will Campbell. They're not draft eligible. So, weapons, you normally think of weapons as skill guys, but Garrett NUSSMEIER, of course, is going to have more than likely a really good offensive line, and we should have a really good one this year as well. It's a really good question, though, Hitstick. I really do appreciate it. We say hi to Yusha, Ukraine. What's good, man? We have viewers from all around the world. D1 Claude, everybody welcome D1 Claude. Ooh, baby. My goodness gracious. Is there an ocean outside? Because look at these waves, baby. What's up, D1 Claude? Aaron Anderson. That was kind of good. Is there an ocean outside? Because look at these waves. I love it, man. You think Jaylen Brown and Kyle Parker are both the truth? So Hitstick, since you are very generous, I actually released my grades on both of them as high school prospects, and I actually had Kyle Parker rated higher than Jaylen Brown, even though their recruiting rankings were the opposite. I have held that position for a long period of time. That's not me saying Jaylen Brown can't be good. I think he's a very fine player. I just think Kyle Parker is very good. And look, once again, these players develop at different rates. But, I was talking about DJ Chark commenting on our Instagram post a little bit earlier today. One thing that kind of reminds me, Kyle Parker, of DJ Chark is, while Kyle Parker isn't the athlete that DJ Chark is, there's not many LSU wide receivers historically that are probably faster than DJ Chark. they both had one thing in common. They were both 3 stars and had late rises that were also young for the relative recruiting class age. So, I like that about Kyle Parker. I really do. So that means if you're younger and you're dominating, that means you are really freaking good. It's not you just being older and bigger and more mature than everybody in your grade. And what's really interesting about Kyle Parker, and once again, I'm really glad you brought him up, is there have been a lot of studies done on this academically, athletically, in every shape, form, or fashion in life. If you are in your class, so whichever class you're in, you might be the class of 87, your relative grade, the people that normally perform better are the ones that are older. So they're held back a grade or they're just older within the class. So it's very interesting that Kyle Parker's had that level of success in high school. Something else is he put up big numbers in an offense that had 2 other 4-star receivers in it. So that shows me that you demand targets in a really good system. Now, that could also mean that those other guys are drawing coverage their way. Some of that is true, but the truth is if you produce and there's other good guys on your team, more than likely you're a good football player too, because you're not throwing it to him, they're throwing it to you. There you go. Yeah, it is interesting. Like, it's a wild stat that the majority haven't been to other stadiums, been to many of them. The most over it has to be Ole Miss after all I was told about my first time there. So, Dwayne, I'm curious before I give my thoughts on Ole Miss. Um, hmm. I'm interested to which game you went to. Okay, because you might be there the same day that I went, and we have exactly 69 viewers. Nice. But truth is, all jokes aside, I went for the 2011 beatdown. Okay, the Ron Brooks pick six to start the game. I knew the Grove wasn't going to be lit then. I knew it because come on, it's simple. The team, their team was so bad, right? Uh, so yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Tuscaloosa's great, but every year there's a big game. Auburn's great too. I've had nothing but good experiences there, even though uh, both. I think I've been to Alabama 3 times or twice. I don't remember. We've split the years that I've actually been to those stadiums. Been to Mississippi State. I liked it. It was fine. We obviously won. That was 2011 as well. So there you go. Huh? 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 Uh, let's see. Oh, all right. So this is crazy. All right, y'all want to see something wild? Y'all want to see something absolutely wild? Okay. I crap you not. We are live. All right. This is crazy. What just happened on Twitter? So I got an alert that Matt Flynn tweeted about my question. Okay, so I want you guys to see this. All right. I've been there before. I'll tell you my Ben Hill Griffith story in just a second. Okay. Um, this is wild. All right. So I've honestly already spoiled this, but my personal pick for the best LSU throw of all time. Okay. This is wild. This is happening right now. All right. You guys are going to love this. One of the coolest things. So I am working on a deep dive. I've done so much research. In fact, I started doing this last off season, but it takes a lot of time to go through all the throws. But I've shared on here before the best throw that I have ever seen an LSU Tiger make was Jamarcus Russell to early Doucette. That is the best throw I personally have ever seen. Okay. Now, there are plenty of Joe Burrow throws you could pick. There are plenty of Zach Mettenberger versus Georgia throws you can pick. There are so many. There are so many. But how about we actually hear from one of the people that actually knows a thing or two about quarterbacking? Here's Matt Flynn. Okay. Marcus too early, Arizona State. This is a fact, not an opinion. Okay. So Matt Flynn, who everyone would say is their most iconic throw, Flynn to Bird. Okay. You heard him. The man who even made the throw that's probably at least top 3 on everybody's list. Okay. Now, this is where it gets spicy. All right. That's this the other day. Does it matter that we may got a break on the catch? He said, I'm not taking questions at this time. The case is closed. Huh? 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 So here's a throw right here. It's going to get me demonetized, so feel free to super chat. But it's just too cool. Y'all, I mean,
Russell, they did not blitz him. He throws toward the end zone. It is caught! Touchdown! Early Doucette, who couldn't catch a pass early in the game.
He dropped it.
It's a huge catch late to give them the lead.
Okay. You heard the man. Who am I to argue with Matt Flynn on this very important subject? Okay. But here's the thing. All right. Everyone's saying, well, he didn't catch it. If college football replay was around, so it didn't show it in the video, but the replay of the throw showed that early Doucette dropped it on the way to the ground. Okay. But hear me out. Okay. Hear me out. It doesn't matter if he caught it. It doesn't. We are rating the best throws. Okay. It's not his fault that the ball was dropped. All right. Now, here's what I'll say, because that is mine. That is mine. I've shared it before. You guys know, you've heard my Jamarcus Russell rants on here a gazillion times. Okay. I am not sure another LSU quarterback can make that throw. Like, obviously, Met has the cannon to do it. Ryan Perrilloux obviously had the arm to do it, but Jamarcus Russell's arm is legendary. Now, I could argue Joe Burrow's ball to Justin Jefferson versus Georgia is still the most athletic feat I've ever seen an LSU quarterback accomplish. And what's really crazy about Burrow's throw to Jefferson is that what made that throw so great is that had been one of Burrow's best scrambling games up to that point, because Georgia was generating some pressure, but Burrow escaped it. He had 2 or 3 scrambled first downs. So the Georgia defensive line, which was Jordan Davis, top 15 pick, Travon Walker, who was the number 1 pick, was so good. He had outran them all day. So, I mean, the Jefferson throw, not the 3rd and 17 one. 3rd and 17 still a big deal, but the ability to still chunk the football down the field is so crazy. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Now, according to Tanner, replay was in college football. They just didn't replay it, which is absolutely wild. But that actually did start, as Chance pointed out, just this crazy run of Les Miles live by the seat of your pants kind of throws. Okay. If Etling would have got the snap off half a second earlier, I feel like it would have been in the running for one of those plays. Oh, the DJ Chark throw. Yes, that is up there. We're going to play some Danny Etling clips in just a second because this is a Danny Etling channel. Okay, Carter, I attended LSU Auburn 08. You were at that game too? I was too. The Jarrett Lee game. Jarrett, one of the many ups and downs of Jarrett Lee, but what a career. LSU Georgia 09. Interesting. So that would have been, is that the AJ Green game? LSU Miami 18 in Dallas. Okay. The Jacob Phillips pick 6 game. And then LSU Texas 19. You could make a strong case when it comes to road victories. And especially if you exclude Alabama. LSU Texas might be the best, most iconic road victory ever. Because, the one thing about LSU Alabama, we have all these other LSU Alabama games. LSU Texas is just out there. Not many matchups historically between two football crazy universities. And there was just so much. McConaughey on the sideline. We didn't know who Joe Burrow really was. So we were kind of all in wonder. What the heck are we even witnessing? And, you have his dad doing this, and then you have the cannon going through the jersey. It's abso-freaking-lutely crazy. So if I were to rank these games, Tony, I would guess LSU Texas 19 was your favorite. Let me know. And thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Let's go to Mark. Mark's been a member of the Hundo Club. I love it. Does he make it 3 live streams in a row for the Hundo Club? And Mark, I really appreciate you. I really do. Went to the 1966 Cotton Bowl. LSU beat number 2 Arkansas 14-7. Running back Joe Labrizo, the running back, run the ball up Arkansas's peach emoji. I love it. I freaking love it. So, yeah, that was Arkansas's glory days, right? That was Jerry Jones, Barry Switzer, Jimmy freaking Johnson. Okay. That was all during that era. And Arkansas had won its national championship in 64. Its only national championship in football. Yeah, those 60s Arkansas teams were really solid. And then they had a little 80s run with Lou Holtz and all that. But yeah, it's some really interesting, man. Oh, Kenneth. Oh. That's brutal. Absolutely brutal. Charles coming in. Joe Labruzzo. Charles, I love the dog, man. Everybody, welcome Charles Whitley to the channel. See, I think I've seen you before. It might just be a new avatar. At Miami post game at those bars across from Jerry World were a sight to see. Okay, let's see. All right, so we're talking about SEC stadiums. Have you ever been to a game not at Tiger Stadium or the Superdome? How cool is that? So today we have gotten mentioned by Matt Flynn, Russell Gage, and DJ Chark. How cool is that? How cool is that? Not every day. Not every day. Matt Flynn, Russell Gage, DJ Chark. That's so cool. So Ben Hill is a swamp. Gotta be honest. Gainesville is kind of overrated as a college city. But the swamp fans are definitely the most ruthless. I don't think there's really a close second. They were brutal. And that's fine. That's perfectly fine. That's part of being an SEC football fan. And they were especially charged up after what happened in 07, us beating them down, or just winning, whatever. And the way they treated Tebow, I said the way we treated Tebow was crazy. So there you have it. But yes, Florida, I actually had a corn dog thrown at me, which was kind of cool. It wasn't cooked, it was frozen. It just hit me in my shoulder. But yes, Florida fans are by far the most ruthless. Okay. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, Dwayne, that one was brutal. That one was brutal. Okay. So Jared goes to a lot of road games. I think Jared, this is the one area where I think you and LJ in particular, you guys go to multiple road games a year. So type Y for yes, type N for no. Have you been to an LSU game, not in Tiger Stadium, not in the Superdome? Type Y for yes, type N for no. I'm very curious. I am very curious. This is the truth. I got to be honest. All right. Got to be completely honest. The most rewarding victory for me, one of my favorite LSU victories of all time, okay, was the Florida game in 2020. Okay, the shoot throw is one of my favorite LSU games of all time because of how bad the season was. Us being 23-point underdogs. And I've shared this plenty of times. The purest yearly game that we have is Florida. It is the most authentic vitriol because the vitriol between the two fan bases is just from the games themselves. It's not a proximity thing. It's not anything else. We're not even in the same division. But the career record is 33, 33, and 3, which is absolutely freaking ridiculous. And there's just so much hate. And it gets very serious when you start talking about, how that the hurricanes were dealt with and all of that. There was so much mudslinging done during that time period. And I agree. There's nothing better than beating Florida in Florida. And I want to go to a game in Gainesville where LSU actually does indeed win. Okay. Let's go to LJ. Best SEC road atmosphere for me is Auburn. That place gets loud, like Tiger Stadium loud, and it holds 15,000 less people. Okay. Agreed. I would probably say Auburn. Now I've been there twice, so it could just be that I experienced both the win and a loss there. So I got to see both sides of it. I was also a fan and a media member for different ones. I was at 08 Auburn and 2010 Auburn, and I've shared my Feinbaum story. That's where I met Paul Feinbaum, and that was a Cam Newton game. So we're talking about Joe Burrow, the Texas game being like the first real game. Honestly, the first real Cam Newton game was that one. Now, he had obviously won a lot. I think that was game number 5 or 6. So everyone knew he was good, but the LSU game is what catapulted him to being the Heisman favorite. So, yeah. So, yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. I agree. I would say Auburn. I would say Auburn is probably my favorite in-stadium experience. But I'm going to be honest, all of them are great. All of them are great stadium experiences because it's a miracle that any one of us actually goes to a road game, right? That really lets you know how much you really love your team. You're willing to go to a place where everybody hates your guts. Your team may win or lose. And if you lose, the ride back home is so much longer, right? They said the ride back home for the team that loses, it just sucks for the players. And it does. I'm not saying it doesn't, but they hop on a jet and they're home in a few hours. There's nothing worse than driving 9 hours back from Gainesville when, you lost. It is a long ride home. So, now, if we get another super chat, I will play the video that caught the attention of DJ Chark and Russell Gage today. But for now, I answer a few more questions. Okay. So cool. Matt Flynn showing some love to PHL. That's obviously great. Bottom of the it's because I'm wearing a black shirt. That might be it. And it's pitch black. Look at that. And it's not a Georgia shirt. I'm wearing it for the 76ers. At the 76ers plus 2.5. So you guys and gals, let me know if I am going to be paying the piper here. That's just a small bet. You went LSU Vandy in 2019. Nashville's a fun city. And you got to see some fireworks. Jamar had some great games. He was unstoppable in that game. Unstoppable. Edward, TLV, I really appreciate your support of the Power Hour SEC channel. Thank you so much. Mm. 89. Oh my God. I just need the 2.5. I don't care if the Celtics win. I don't care. Just cover the 2.5. That's it. Huh? Taj Boyd at Clemson and Hopkins at wide receiver. And not only DeAndre Hopkins, but Sammy Watkins also. Crazy story. So if you go back to that game, right, it was on New Year's Eve. Kind of a disappointing bowl game for us and a big bowl game for Clemson because Clemson wasn't Clemson yet. There was still the early Dabo years, and that was obviously a disappointment with Jeremy Hill and all those guys not actually playing in a bigger bowl game. Very first drive of the game, they actually run the football with Sammy Watkins, a wide receiver. They handed it off, and Mingo blew the play up, and he did one of these swinging leg tackles and destroyed, shattered the leg of Sammy Watkins at the cart him off the field, I believe. Those tackles are always the most gruesome when you swipe your legs and you just take the legs out. But yeah, I think about that game quite a bit because that was one of Clemson's first big wins, right? And Taj Boyd was a dude. He could really play. My favorite Taj Boyd memory is the video that he did an interview at the ESPNU, and he was if y'all seen this interview, you know how crazy it is. So he did the interview on, like, you got to remember, phones weren't phones then. So he was doing an interview on like a Skype on his computer, and they said, "Hey, Taj, what are you doing?" He was like, "Well, I'm over here studying with my studying partners." And please tell me you guys have seen this interview. I remember it was Reese Waters and Danny Cannell. And he said, "Who are your study partners?" And 3 women just go into the screen. Please tell me I'm the only one. I'm not the only one that saw that. That was so funny. But there was something about the women that were really, really, really funny. But yeah, Taj Boyd, he could play. He could really, really, really play. Huh? Oh, you got a ticket driving home. Double whammy. So there you go. You went to the Indy Bowl in Shreveport. Pick up football or basketball. And then and either way, did Bobby get some buckets? Did he dominate? Get Bobby on the live stream right now. I gotta ask him how it went. Oh, Nathan went to Starkville. That was your only one? Oh, please don't tell me it was one of those Nick Fitzgerald games. Please don't tell me, Nathan. Don't tell me. That 37-7 beat down. Ooh. Or whatever the score was. And they blew the brakes off of us. People crap on Starkville, the city. I don't think it's. You kind of just know that going in. You're not going into, a college football utopia. But the stadium was great. The cowbells are a different experience. Is it annoying? Yes, but you know what you're getting yourself into. Okay. But yes, Fayetteville is one of the, if it probably is the most underrated SEC city. Fayetteville is great. Now, once again, my best friends live there, so it's a little bit different. But even not knowing people up there, I've had fun just going up there by myself. Oh, okay. So, Nathan, what are you sad about? You went to a win. You went to a win, Nathan. You can't be mad about that. I love it. Matt Flynn commented on a tweet. Syracuse. Oh man, that's an interesting one. We used to always have to play in Little Rock for Arkansas. Yeah, for the Thanksgiving, how the contracts worked. Yeah, that was the Trenton Holiday kickoff return game. Lots of wins in Little Rock. Here's a good one. Carter, best non-LSU game you've been to. This one's honestly pretty easily. So, best non-LSU college football game, okay, was Ohio State, Alabama in the first ever college football playoff. I was there for that one, and that game was so good. All the talent, two of the best coaches ever at their peaks. Honestly, I was Saban at his peak and then Urban at his peak. And I'll never forget it. You know, the Zeke run and all that stuff. So, you know, I didn't. Also, it was fun just looking at the game from just, you know, a football standpoint. You know, I didn't have a dog in the fight. I could really care less who won. But yeah, that game was so great. It was so great. All the talent on that field was truly insane. And then also, you know, going into that game thinking it's going to be a blowout because Ohio State was playing with their third string quarterback. So that's got to be up there. It's got to be up there. But I'm sure there's some others that I am just blanking out on. I will say I covered the Sugar Bowl when Oklahoma beat Nick Saban. That was absolutely crazy. Trevor Knight, could you believe it? Saban's got some ugly bowl losses mixed in there. All right. God, I'm cooked. I'm cooked. I'm cooked. Sixers couldn't get it done. This is what happens when your boy bets NBA. And Jason Tatum laid an egg. An egg. The brutal reality. So I watched the first half of the NBA game, and PJ Tucker rattled out so many threes. Balls that would hit every corner of the rim and go out. It's absolutely crazy. So there you go. Oh, look, Tyler wants to be a smart aleck. Clicked on it because of the title and never get it. Never talks about the topic in the title. Well, the good news for you, Tyler, is you could rewind to the very first portion of the video. Okay? Not really hard to do that. And by the way, I didn't even talk about the topic in the title. I, along with everybody else in the chat, talked about the topic in the title. And one of the best LSU quarterbacks ever talked about the topic in the title. But to appease Tyler, let's hear from Brian Kelly.
Well, as you know, he has 3 years remaining, right? So, you look at the present, and he's in a, obviously situation where, Jaden Daniels has been the starter. And he has to factor in, all right, do I get an opportunity this year? Well, we have to make sure that he got meaningful reps with the first group, because we believe that he can lead us to a championship as well. But if it didn't pan out for him this year, he still has 2 seasons of competition. And we know that that's a lifetime in college football today. Many quarterbacks are going in the first round with 1 year. Joe Burrow obviously had 2, but 1 great year put him as a first round pick. So I think, Garrett's smart enough to know that with 3 years, he puts himself in a great position to lead this program and lead it to a championship.
So there you go. Yeah. So you happy now, Tyler? Clicked on the title, go straight to your topic. But I love it when people have strong thoughts about anything, but you do it anonymously. You have a photo in your avatar. So, yeah, talked a lot about Garrett NUSSMEIER and the plan for the future there. It's pretty clear that Brian Kelly has laid it out for him. Now, I have talked about this at length. All right. Well, I'm glad everybody's happy. As long as Tyler's happy, though. As long as he's happy. I think it's pretty clear what the plan is. Now, what I will say is at the time of the Georgia game, I was talking to someone that is familiar with the NUSSMEIERs, and before the Purdue game even began, and if you remember the PHL Patreon and the Discord, you knew this already, that they told Garrett NUSSMEIER, you're going to play versus Purdue, okay? And you are going to obviously get to be a part of what LSU is building moving forward. And you see that. You honestly see that. You could just see from, spring practices and how that spring game was operated that Garrett NUSSMEIER is very involved with LSU. And look, I'm so happy Garrett NUSSMEIER stayed. I really am. Now, part of why I talk about different topics, Tyler, is always know this. At the beginning of pretty much every live stream, we are going to, for sure, talk about the topics in the title of the video. Okay? But the truth is, there's more to it than just LSU football. It's a live stream. And just for Tyler, this goes for anybody. People want to bring up different topics. That's the point of this. Now, I do a lot of videos where the video is just a video, right? I don't talk about anything else other than what's in the video, okay? But it's the point of a live stream, is to answer your questions. And if one of the questions in the title of the video is answered by the person who is the answer to what everyone is saying, the best throw in history actually is, I'm going to stop what I'm doing and hear from that person, which of course was Matt Flynn, who said the best throw in LSU history was Jamarcus Russell too early, too set. And I'm not just saying this just to say it. I agree with him. I do. Even if the catch would or would not have been completed. Okay? But I'm not calling just out Tyler. I'm not even calling him out. It's just... Now, here's a good thing. If you want to click on the video and just hear what the title of the video has to say, you can actually rewind your YouTube. And this is just a PSA to anybody. You can rewind the thing. So, look, I could do it right now. So if you're watching this, and it is basically, you know, just so look, I'll show you how to do it. So you see right here on this, it's kind of weird because I'm looking at myself on here right now. So you can actually go right here, put your finger right here, and you can actually rewind it all the way to the beginning. Okay. Now it's kind of weird. This is me in the past. This is the...
We have a glorious Thursday night live stream. We've got a lot to get to in not a lot of time.
There you go. So you can go to the beginning. Looking at you. So there you go. I didn't talk about it. Well, the joke's on me. I thought I did. Thought I mentioned GARRETT NUSSMEIER. Thought I mentioned that. So I'm glad we got that settled. Okay. But normally, whichever is in the title of the video, we'll get to it. The chicklikin is back. It's always back. It's never back. You want me to go listen now? So I'll stop what I'm doing right now and go listen. So I apologize to you, Tyler, who I don't think I've ever seen before until today. But welcome. I'll move on. So I wanted to show you guys this. Good to see you, Danny girl. But yeah. We'll answer this question after this video. This is, to me, a throw that's not talked about enough, the one at the end. Let's go. So I am loving the responses to this tweet so far, but I want to show some love to one of the more underrated drives in LSU history. I loved everything about what Danny Etling did versus Auburn. And I know the Chark punt return is what we really remember the game for. My guy Mario with the great Spanish broadcast call, Jacoby Stevens with the block. But first throw right there, it looks like it's just a simple comeback route, but if you actually freeze frame it, Danny Etling actually threw that ball before Chark was out of his break, so some good anticipation. But then it was this throw right here to New Orleans Saints tight end Foster Moreau that really blew me away. And congrats to Foster and all he's going through right now. I want you to see this right here, this Himothy right here from Danny Etling. You think he's down, and just look at this. Three guys on him, and he was still able to get this ball out to Foster Moreau. But if you think that this drive couldn't get any better, you get one of the best extended red zone dimes you'll ever see. Now, this was actually in the red zone, but still, normally when you think of a ball thrown to the back left corner of the end zone versus Auburn and Tiger Stadium, you think FLYNN to Bird. But look at this. All the pressure in his face right up the gut. And look at where this ball was completed. To Russell freaking Gage. God bless America. Love it. So show some love to Danny Dimes. Oh. Burt Jones to Davis. So there you go. I got responses from DJ Chark and Russell Gage. No, hey. It's all good, Tyler. No, I do vaguely remember you, but I appreciate you, man. And I'm sorry if I did or didn't at the beginning. I'll go back and listen. But normally, most live streams, I get to the first two topics pretty quickly, or at least do that for the first few minutes. I apologize to you and everybody else. Okay? JSB. But I'm telling you, if I can just complain really quickly for a plus 2.5 76ers bet, how does Tatum play an awful game? An awful game. An awful game. And the 76ers still can't cover. What's up with that? You're on your home floor. But yeah, I mean, obviously, no one's mentioned the earthquake throw. The earthquake throw has got to be up there. Let's see here. I kind of want to just. Have we got Duvix? Got some Duvix fans in here? That's crazy. This was brought up a few times. CB 1620, welcome to the channel. Everybody, welcome CB 1620. Love those initials. Ryan Perlew rope down the left sideline to Demetrius Byrd. Cover 2 hole shot, baby. Very similar to Garrett Nussmeier's throw versus Georgia. That was a great throw. A very underrated throw, especially considering these circumstances. But yeah, I think the Jonathan Zenon pick 6 is not talked about near enough in terms of like just being one of the clutch plays in the history of LSU football. All right, Skipper. Hope you feel better, my man. Bluegrass Miracle won a lot of money. Hey, don't look at me. I'm a losing bettor when it comes to the NBA. Tolliver, yeah, it's up there. That was a great throw. Jared Lee to Terrence Tolliver. I think an underrated throw was not Jarrett Lee versus Florida, but Jarrett Lee versus Tennessee. That was truly insane. So he completed a 4th and 9 and a 3rd and 14 to Terrence Tolliver on that drive. Or it could have been a 3rd and 9 and a 4th and 14. And before the 4th down play, they had taken a false start penalty and they blew a timeout before the chaos even happened. So I think it was like a delay of game penalty. Then they blew the timeout. So the crazy thing about the T-Bob snap play was how chaotic that entire drive was up to that point. So yeah. And then Kelvin Shepherd getting the stop on 4th and 1 to even keep us in the game. So it's up there. What's up, Mick? Good to see you. Hope you're feeling better. 4th down throw. Oh, the one to D. Anderson on was that it? The one to D. Anderson? I don't remember. The Derek Dillon touchdown pass was so good in that game too. To Derek, yeah. So there you go. Appreciate all the super chats. Just to comment on something a little bit more current as far as LSU transfer portal. So as you guys saw, I didn't pick anything like current to really talk about tonight. I mean, I mentioned GARRETT NUSSMEIER. The plan is actually the plan is actually for the future, obviously. I also, mentioned the best throw in LSU history, right? What is the best throw in LSU history? One thing I'm fatigued about is the transfer portal content cycle. I was so fatigued after doing, not fatigued, I mean, it's not hard, but like the entire thing with Trey Amos, all the Bama fans just saying, thanks for doing this film study for us. I wanted to not do a live stream where it's all about Logan Diggs and it's all about who else are we going to get from the portal, who are we going to get. There's a DB from Rhode Island. Who's going to be our next portal commitment? And we'll see. I have done so many Logan Diggs videos now that I wanted to let that story breathe and just wait for the story to actually happen. But yeah. But you never talked about Nuss. But yeah. I just did. In fact, I ripped the whole thing. So what I'm going to do, because I didn't properly talk about GARRETT NUSSMEIER, I will change the title of the video to appease everyone that's frustrated. I might do this. Might bring this up because everybody's going to be wanting to figure out what the heck's happening in New Iberia. They found a body in a freezer at a fast food restaurant. What? I have no idea. I have no idea. Now, type Y for yes, type N for no. All right, I've gotten this question. I got it from LJ a minute ago. LJ, let me know if you're still in here. Are you going to Orlando? All right. I know Carvis is going, but type Y for yes, type N for no. Are you going to Orlando? I'm not talking about the Plan For Nuss. And I did. I shared it. I wasn't me. I shared what Brian Kelly's plan for Garrett NUSSMEIER is. So everybody's going. Cliff's going. Cody's going. Sibley's going. Dang. I like it. Cody's going to Dallas or Atlanta. He's going everywhere. He's going everywhere. So half of you, roughly half of you, have never been. That's crazy. Jules, good to see you this evening. Shreveport's Airport is offering direct flights just for that weekend. Cool. That's pretty cool, honestly. I go to most neutral site games between Dallas and Atlanta. Atlanta, where the players play, where we ride on them things like every day. Atlanta. That's dope. Tatum tore me up, man. But you're at home, game 6. Brutal. So what is it? So Sibley says, I have not missed an off-site game except UCLA since I graduated. Why? Wait, so tell me this. Type Y for yes, type N for no. Do you guys enjoy the neutral site games? Like, just in general? Like, I know we've talked about the Lambeau game. Quite a few of you went to that one. But yeah, let's go to D, really. So any news on the transfer targets? I briefly mentioned this a minute ago, but I'm happy to talk about it now. Not really. Honestly, not really. I'll tell you this, D, really. I would guess Logan Diggs right now is the one you should feel the most comfortable with. Obviously, there's the DB. His last name's Carter out of Rhode Island. And then, of course, I wasn't going to mention his name because, number one, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. But there is a safety from UL that apparently entered the portal. And his name is Cam Pind. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his last name. But he has played a lot of football. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. And, yeah, he's had a really solid career at UL. Okay. Former 0-star recruit. So someone that is very easy to cheer for. He's originally from Texas. And because I watched a good bit of Trey Amos, I watched a decent amount of him, and he looks pretty solid. but nothing of note other than Logan Diggs. I feel personally pretty good about it. Now, are there other schools out there that would make sense for Logan Diggs? Absolutely. But being real with you, the running back room, there's a lot of uncertainty there. But yeah, it's very interesting. What's up, bud? Paris. Yeah, don't worry about Coleman. It's highly unlikely. But if it happens, obviously, I'd feel great. But I don't see it happening. Don't see it happening. Donald can't wait for Vegas. I don't think anybody's ever been more excited about a season opener that is not even happening this year. Nicholas says he's going to his first one. I would have loved to have gone to Tallahassee. Plus, that's also I'm pretty sure it's a grass field, and I would much prefer that. So yeah. Now, something I wanted to say for a little bit, later. Is I thought this was very cool. LSU is studying abroad. So there are 13 LSU players that are going to study in Africa. I think that's great. I think, in my younger years, one of the best decisions I made was to travel while I was at LSU. And while I didn't travel and do something quite like going to Africa, I went and lived in DC for long periods of time. And that was a far more enriching experience than any of my time at LSU. It really was. I really like that. Now, when I bring up stuff like this, I normally lose viewers. That's fine. Because one of PHL's favorites, Slade Roy, I believe I saw his name on the list of 13 players that are going, right? So I think that's awesome. I think that's absolutely awesome. Africa is definitely on my bucket list. I think I saw the video earlier. I did not know Senegal is where jambalaya and gumbo originated. I did not know that. So I saw the video they released earlier. That was a fact that I would have never have known. But just talking about a different culture brings those things into the conversation, and it just broadens your horizon. So I think that's really cool. It's amazing how traveling just changes your viewpoint on a lot of different things. And it goes back to something I've always seen, especially in America, is unless you personally experience something good, bad, and different, it has no effect on you. And it's frustrating. You can tell you guys know who your friends are that are like this. They could be the most hard-headed friends that you have, friends, family members. You could say, hey, this is wrong. Hey, you should quit doing this. Hey, you should quit doing that. But until it happens to you or someone really close to you, nothing changes, right? So the fact that, it's not the entire team, it's only 13 players, but the fact that 13 players are going to go over there, they're going to go back to their teammates and say, yo, that was crazy. So there you go. Swamp Carter, do you put out cut segments of your analysis? Yeah, we do. If I'm if I'm answering your question correctly, yeah, we put we're doing a lot of short form content. Got a very good editor who does it. But yeah, I'll start posting shorter chunks of this into different YouTube videos to make it a little more digestible. But it is amazing how many people reach out to me and say, "Hey, I watched the live stream this morning, or I watch it on my way to work." We have a lot of truckers on PHL, people that drive long distances, and they say they listen to the full 2-hour thing, which is crazy to me. But it's cool. It's obviously cool. I'm flattered. But yeah, we're posting more shorts on like YouTube Shorts, Twitter, TikTok, all that good stuff. And I post a lot of short form content on those other channels. But YouTube, this is the main thing. All right. This is where I get money. All right. It's where I pay for my dog. So there you go. So your buddy played versus Cam Newton. He says he's a ball hog, but he's the quickest athlete he's ever played against. Yeah. NFL guys didn't track me at all. Pretty cool. Yeah. Let's go to Black OT. I was born in D.C., went to elementary school in Ball, Louisiana, lived in Alexandria, Louisiana, went to middle school in Marietta, Georgia, and high school in upstate New York, 30 miles from Canada. Wow. This is a journey. Mm. Now, something else that was announced, SEC Media Days in mid-July. LSU will be going on Monday, so that's roughly a month from now. This is, I think, the second or third straight year that they've been on the first day of SEC Media Days. I used to love going to SEC Media Days. Now, I won't get into what exactly happened there, but some of it is just travel. It's a long way to go. But I loved it. I made a lot of contacts, friends that I've still have to this day. But the only really newsworthy thing that happens, unless someone just says something crazy, which is now few and far between, is the actual votes, right? Where the media picks who they think is going to win. And I think for the first time in eons, LSU is going to win the polls. I think they're going to have more first place votes than Alabama to win the West. I believe it. So we'll see. We'll see if that happens. Oh, 2 or 3 not good as one. The PHL Kenny Chesney fan. All right, got a new poll question up. There you go. Did you see the new ESPN poll? LSU is number 14, and Bama is 8th. So yeah, once again, I could still see the media picking Bama. I do think it's going to be different this time, though. I do think it would be different. Okay. Man, France is a great country. Paris. It's ULL. Got a UL. I guess that. So I'm just so used to writing UL-Lafayette. I'm so used to doing it. But now you must say Louisiana. You must say Louisiana. You can't say UL-Lafayette. You got to say Louisiana. Okay? Got to say Louisiana. Now, let's see. So it's not UL-Lafayette. It's UL or Louisiana. I stand corrected. I'm just so used to writing UL-Lafayette. Yeah, it's just, I don't know. Now, here's what we're going to do. In the next 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to answer as many questions as we possibly can. Okay? Now, if you super chat, we'll keep this party moving. Okay? Keep this party moving. But if you don't, I'll answer as many questions in the next 10 minutes. Okay? Never should be called the University of Louisiana. Let's see here. That's cool. ULM has more championships than ULL. Let me ask you, ladies and gentlemen, this. What school in Louisiana, or let me rephrase that. What college in the state of Louisiana is your favorite outside of LSU? Okay. What college outside of Louisiana is your favorite outside of LSU? Okay. Grambling. I love it. I would probably say Southern. Mine graduated from Southern. I do like Louisiana Tech and Ruston a lot. I always pull for Tech. All right. So Prez Cliff ask, will Jaden Daniels throw for 3,500 yards? It's quite a bit. As you can see, only 2 actually reached that number. One is a school that throws a football at will. Get it? At Will Rogers. But anyway, it's Will Rogers got there due to volume. As you can see, Will Rogers' yards per attempt isn't that great. So only 2 quarterbacks did it, and Stetson played in 15 games. Okay. So as you see, there's not a whole lot of QBs that throw for 3,500 yards. Okay. As you can see, Bryce and Will were the only 2 to do it in 2021. We'll skip 2020. And then 2019, you only had 1 quarterback do it. So I'm going to go under on Jaden's passing yard total at 3,500. I think an over/under set at 3K is probably where it should be, because as you can see, he played in all 14 of our games. He got to 2,900. So if you expect him to have a step forward in his throwing, and we reach the playoff, which would mean we have played in at least 14 games, you would like to think that we get to at least 3,000. 3,500 is a lot of passing yards. So there you go. So 3 out of every 4 of you are not going to Orlando. There you go. Now, obviously our next live stream is Sunday. Most of you are men that watch this channel, and as you guys know, we wait till the last second, okay, to go get our mothers a Mother's Day gift. Now, I've got an abso-freaking-lutely awesome Mother's Day gift idea for you. And I wonder who that could be from. Bang! Simper was right on it. He said he was getting himself a W. Pressy Collection in the PressyCollection.com. Make sure you check it out. Diamond rings, everything, necklaces, jewelry, all the good stuff. Who cares if it's the very last second? PressyCollection.com. And if you want to get in contact with me, I'll get you in contact with Anthony Starr Presley. Just hit me up at Power Hour LSU. Hey, don't hate on water skiing. Don't hate. There's nothing wrong with water skiing. Yeah, the Kentucky Derby was this weekend. People go crazy over horse racing. And did you know Texas A&M has 13 equestrian national championships? 13. Let's go to this. Do schools vary on how hard they are to perform a film study? Is LSU harder or easier than other schools? This was also going to be a joke that, see, I love Jared. I was actually going to make you think Pressy Collection, but actually play something from Let's Go. If you love Power Hour content, you will love Underdog Fantasy, baby. Sign up right now. Promo code. So go to Underdog Fantasy. Promo code Carter. It does go an absolute long way in helping us grow. PowerHourLSU.com. How about that? Oh, man, that is so freaking funny. UnderdogFantasy.com. Do schools vary on how hard they are to perform a film study? Is LSU harder or easier than other schools? It's a little harder because obviously, all I look at is LSU football stuff. I actually just did a really deep one on Arkansas football and their rushing attack. And it wasn't like too complex, but I did spend a lot of time on it. And it's different because you have to look, like when I'm doing a film study, I try my best to put myself in the eyes of the play caller, right? So I've listened to Mike Denbrock's seminars. I've gone back and read some stuff about him at Notre Dame. So, obviously I know a lot of what the LSU players are, like their strengths and weaknesses are. So if you go do a film study on another school, it's just not going to be as detailed as my LSU one. So on this Arkansas one, I actually spent a good bit of yesterday researching their rushing attack. And it is a little bit different. It's with Arkansas because their offensive coordinator left. So yeah, I wanted to wonder if how much your rushing attack is going to change. It's a little bit easier for schools like Alabama just because, we play them and you see them in the national media a lot. But honestly, all film studies are hard for this reason. I don't have access to all 22. Now I get my access. I get some access to some all 22, but not all of it. It is really hard to obtain all 22 footage of basically anything at the collegiate level. You can get it for every high school. You can get it for every NFL team for $4 a month. But college football teams, they don't like sharing their all 22, and I get it. But I also don't get it. College football is way more secretive than the NFL, high school, all the levels. It is probably the most secretive sport that we have. But yeah, when you don't have access to all 22, it makes it way more difficult to begin with because you can't see the safeties and you can't see all the passing concepts and all of that. And it's already hard enough because you don't know the play calls. So I try and keep it as simple as I possibly can because, a lot of football jargon is way over my head. But yeah, they're fun to do. And it doesn't matter the team. I like doing a film study, but I feel like the LSU ones will always be the best, and that's good for you. I think we'll run more 12 this year. I do. Obviously, it's going to come down to Mason Taylor's health, though. Good luck tomorrow to Jamie. We're not finding out tomorrow, though, if she's going to be a valedictorian because we already know she's a valedictorian. Let's go to Jason, a very generous super chat. Y'all show Jason some love, some clap emojis in the chat. He is a busy working man. Every time he jumps in, he is dropping 20, 50, hundo super chats. I really appreciate you, Jason. It goes a long way, especially in the off season. Things get tough. I'm actually going to go with Shelton Sampson. I do think Kyle Parker is going to play a lot, though. I do. I think he's really good. I do. And I'm not going to, like, for instance, Denver Harris had a rough spring game. I'm going to stick with my priors on him. I think he's pretty solid. Okay. But Jason, I'm gonna go with Kyle Parker. I am. I think Shelton Sampson is the best prospect, but Kyle Parker also was an early enrollee. Doesn't mean a whole lot in the grand scheme of things, especially considering, most of our true freshman production last year came from non-early enrollees. Obviously, Will wasn't early, but Emory Jones, Harold Perkins, and Mason Taylor were not. So, Shelton Sampson could come right in and play a lot. But I think Kyle Parker's really good. I do. He worked a lot with the second team during the spring, and I just love his demeanor. I love the way he plays the game. He's still on his best football is still ahead of him. And I honestly think Kyle Parker has got the chance to break the out-of-state wide receiver curse. There has not been an out-of-state wide receiver at LSU that has caught over 30 balls since Terrence Tolliver. Okay? Kadron Boone had a great year in 2012. Had a big touchdown versus Georgia in that shootout versus Aaron Murray. And he was from Florida. But yeah, we just haven't seen it. Haven't seen an out-of-stater. So I think Kyle Parker's going to break that streak. I do. Go to D, really, another super chat. I really appreciate you. Do you think we see more designed runs from JD5 now that Nuss has proven to be a good second option in the event of an injury? Very good question here. So, when you actually look at Jaden Daniels' success from last year, a good bit of his success came on non-pure quarterback design runs. So most of his rushing yards came on scrambles. And I don't like to call a zone read a design QB run where Jaden has the option to pull it or hand it. So yeah, I think for me, D, really, you could, but at the same time, ultimately, I felt towards the end of the season, Jaden's zone read game got a little sloppy. Obviously, we didn't see much of it versus Georgia because he had a bum ankle. But, we had 2 turnovers at the end of the season on zone read pulls. Obviously, Arkansas early in the game, and then the dagger touchdown return versus Texas A&M, where previously we had only lost 1 in the first half versus Mississippi State. So, yeah, I think for me, Jaden has the ability to be truly something special this final season. And a lot of it's just going to come down to his willingness to be a thrower. But I to the scrambling aspect of things, I don't think teams are just going to let him scramble. They're going to want him to throw from the pocket. Okay? Let's keep it going with the super chats. They're flying in. They always do at the end. When I always warn that we're about to sign off, you guys start firing them in there. Let's go to Rodney. You had a question earlier that I said I was going to get. Oh, you asked me if I was going to Orlando. I'm still deciding. Do I think Jaylen Brown will be that out-of-state wide receiver stud? Do I? Okay, I see what you're asking. Not in year 1. I think he's more of a year 2, year 3 kind of guy, and I hope he waits until then. He's not the biggest guy. Obviously, I think he needs to get a little bigger. And honestly, I this was how I saw it, Rodney, with the 4 wide receivers coming out of high school. I had Jalen tied for 3rd with Kai Prean, and Kyle Parker was my number 2, and Shelton Sampson was my number 1. Now, the cool thing about Jaylen Brown is he's got the one skill you can't teach. He is really fast. So that speed in and of itself could allow him on the field this year, because any true wide receiver that can stretch a defense can obviously open things up for a lot of other people. It allows Malik to play the slot and, BTJ play opposite. And then obviously another thing with Jalen is going to be his health, right? That there have been instances up to this point in his career where he's been banged up. So, I think Jaylen Brown has some of the highest upside of any of the receivers that are currently on the roster. It's just going to take a lot, right? For him to play a lot in year 1, mainly because to Cliff's point, if we do run more 12 personnel, there's going to be less wide receivers playing. And Malik and BTJ are going to have such a heavy share of the snap count. And obviously, you're going to have to jump Kyron Lacey. You're going to have to jump Aaron Anderson, and so on and so on. It would be really hard. So, there you go. Casey asked about Ibieta. Do you think they let him return kicks? I'd like to see it. I normally like the kick and punt returner to be like in a perfect world, that player is like a fringe guy. So like a guy that's not playing a whole lot. Because kickoffs and punt returns are very dangerous. People can get hurt. It could be very tricky. But yeah, I would love to see Ibieta get his opportunity to return kicks. Grant Yinny, one of our PHLers, he's very familiar with Landon. He agrees with you. So there you go. Now, to your Matthew Langlois. I think it's time for Matthew Langlois to either produce or get buried on the depth chart. So I'm cheering for him. You guys know how much I love New Roads, Louisiana. We did that interview recently with Patrick Queen. I was talking about Point Capee Parish. So yeah, I think Matthew Langlois should be a very interesting player if he could stay healthy. It's injuries, though. He has been doing a lot of the working out with Mason Smith away from everybody at practice. So the good thing for him, Jason, if he does get healthy, he does have a wide open safety room to walk into. Okay. So the good news is LSU is still going to be looking for backup safeties, right? Major Burns and Greg Brooks as the starting safety, and behind them is a wave of uncertainty. Now, the good news is you would prefer to be thinner at safety than at corner, because in a perfect world, you would never have to do this, but it is easier to move a corner to safety like we did with Jarek this year. But yeah, injuries have been killer for Matthew Langlois. Go hard or go home. Good to see you. Why are y'all discounting my guy, Chris Hilton Jr.? I believe Chris is one of the LSU players going to Senegal, which is really cool. Obviously, Chris has the speed to play in the SEC. But yeah, I mean, I just think right now he's just behind players that are basically at the same stage of development as he is. And it's kind of like with Matthew Langlois, the injuries have just really dismantled a lot of what he has done up to this point, right? It's the sad reality of it. But the good news is he was a 247 top 100 receiver. Top 100 wide receivers from Louisiana hit at a really high rate. This might just be a little bit of a slower hit, but it is still out there for him. So, but yeah, I mean, he is a hands catcher, but I think Jason's point is that you could be a great hands catcher in drills and all of that, but you got to be able to catch a football in actual game scenarios. And I think, for me, part of the issue that he has is game speed, right? And I think that's one thing that, we discount quite a bit. And it's a good example as to why, a lot of players that are the absolute fastest sometimes sometimes they don't turn out to be the best players at LSU, right? There's so many examples of the absolute fastest players at LSU not being the best, and some of these slower players in terms of 40-yard dash or straight line speed, those guys turn out to be really good, right? So, like Jarvis Landry, obviously, is a pretty clear example of that. And Xavier Carter, if this sport was just a track and field race, Xavier Carter and Trenton Holiday would be the two best players in LSU history. But Trenton obviously had balance. He was so low to the ground. It's wild how football speed is just so different than track and field speed. And I know I cite track and field data a decent amount in my film studies and player evaluations and all of that. But yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, if you're making an all-time just speed team, Chris Hilton's probably on there. Chris Hilton's probably up there. But balance is important too. Positioning your body. I mean, there's just so many different things. And one trait, and this goes back, and Sibley, let me know if you're still listening or not. This goes back to something that Sibley brought up, a little bit earlier. I love, freaking love doing these deep dives. Because one thing that I consistently see being very important, and it's part of why, the LSU defenses of those Orgeron years were so bad. It wasn't just that they were predictable. It's just we would give up yards so easy. Like we didn't have much resistance. So like stats like yards before contact and yards after contact. I would always be very careful when you see a prospect's highlight tape or just anybody's tape and they're not breaking a lot of tackles. Now, it's an oversimplification. There's spectacular runs where you don't have to break any tackles. But more often than not, how good are you at making somebody miss? Okay, so I did a pretty deep film study on Arkansas. And one thing Kendall Browse does a really good job of is getting you yards before you get hit. Okay, UCLA was the best at it in all of college football, yards before contact. And essentially, it's just pretty straightforward meaning. Can you draw things up that gets us easy yards? Kansas is really good at that with Lance Leipold or whatever. But in the SEC, as many of you know, it's hard to do that because you're going up against the best athletes. Everybody's big, everybody's fast, everybody's strong. So what I look for, just very simply, and you can do this, whoever you are watching this, because I do get this question a lot about film studies that Sibley asked a minute ago, or how can I learn more about football? And it's always a difficult thing. I always feel uncomfortable answering it because I don't know as much as you probably think. But one thing I always say is ask yourself the question at the end of a throw, run, tackle, any of that. How many players could have made that same play? And the thing is, when I look at someone like Malik Neighbors makes a lot, and I mean a lot, of difficult plays. Really difficult plays. Like 50-50 catches where you got to drag your feet, ball not be absolutely thrown on time, catch in the back of the end zone, catch while you're getting hit. There's the run after the catch, broken tackle. I mean, he gives me everything when I look at it. And I think part of it is when you watch a player, how many times do you actually see someone make somebody miss? Like, I'm telling you, go back and watch Darius Geis's best runs. And there was a run he had versus South Carolina that I still think about to this day, where he, on back-to-back plays, he's just making so many people miss. One for a 2-yard gain and one for a 60-yard gain. Another good running back who was really good at not going down at first contact was Spencer Ware. Spencer Ware in that 2011 Alabama game, that was the most impressive 28 yards I have ever seen anybody gain. He was a fighter because they knew we were just running. But yeah, I think about my desk is so messy. I think about that quite a bit. I really do. After you do the film study and then watch it, how much stuff do you think you missed? Oh, I think about it all the time. And sometimes with film studies, as I've learned, it's better to keep more stuff out than to put stuff in. So yeah, it's very fun. Very fun. I also think, when it comes to, let me see, I cut a film study play out earlier. And I wanted to actually pull it up. I put it on my phone. I can't find it now. But yeah, like, I think for me, the hardest thing to do when you're doing it is not overcomplicating it, right? There's some film breakdowns where it's hard. It's really hard to decipher. And I try my best not to do that. I really do. Okay, so you have an NBA question. I actually just let's see. Oh, I knew I should have bet Nuggets. So before the series, we can actually have a tweet. Bet Nuggets in 6. Zach, can you do me something before I answer your NBA question, just so I can punch myself in the face? Please tell me what the pre-series odds were for Denver winning in 6 games. Please go look that up for me if you can, really quickly. But before I go to answer the Monty thing, I always go back to like the film study stuff, right? Ask yourself this question. And a lot of you watch football. When you watch a running back make a run, did he break a tackle? Did he have to cut it backside? Did a player blow a block? Right? And it used to be like previous to this season, Josh Williams would only make something happen if the play was perfectly blocked. Where now, okay, a play doesn't have to be perfectly blocked for Josh Williams. In fact, there were so many of his best runs. Ole Miss 3rd and 7, Alabama 3rd and 7. Another run where he stiff-armed Will Anderson. the Florida 50-yard run. There were so many of his runs where he was making guys miss at the line of scrimmage and still breaking off long, explosive runs. So, 600 pound squad, 600 pound squad. All right, so we normally get into NBA at the end or just different sports. What's interesting, I saw Blake tweet this out. I don't know a whole lot about softball, and our softball PHL expert Skipper already went to bed. There's a lot of people fired up about Beth Torina potentially getting the can. That would, I thought Beth was a good coach. We're ranked every year, but I don't know. Let me see. Suns. I tweeted out. Dang it. I tweeted out before the series, Nuggets in 6. It was the most predictable thing of all time. And I go and bet the Sixers. And I got the super chat is saving me. Because there you go. I'm not even a Sixers fan. I just have this from the Iverson years. Look at that. Yeah, I can't. It's probably hard to find. All right, so I enter this one. I think Monty's got to go. I think he does. So a few years ago, he blew the 2-0 series lead going up against Mike Budenholzer, right? Who's now fired. Okay. So, NBA people that are smarter than me, and I follow a decent amount of them on Twitter, say Monty didn't do a good job adjusting to the adjustments that the Bucks finally made. Okay. So be it. You made it to the finals. But then the next year, Luka Doncic, his supporting cast sucks. There is not another top 50 player in his supporting cast, and he beat you in a 7-game series. Luka didn't even make the playoffs this year with Kyrie Irving. And I'm an anti-Kyrie guy, but he's better than anything else that they have, right? And not only did they lose, they lost by 50 on their home floor. And for the second consecutive season, your season is ending in a blowout on your home floor. You're getting ran off the court on your home floor. And the Nuggets have sick players, right? I know the Suns beat the Clippers. That was the worst. If you actually looked at the games, that was the worst 5-game series win I've ever seen. I knew the Suns were toast going into it. I thought it would go 6 because Book and Durant are so freaking good. But the team is poorly constructed. So you got a new owner in Phoenix. They're going, I think he is going to fire Monty Williams and he's going to fire James Jones, the GM. Now, I understand. Chris Paul got hurt. It happens every playoff, so you know what you're getting. And DeAndre Ayton sucks. That was a horrible contract. Horrible. Any big man that is just a big man who you know comes up short in the playoffs, who you know doesn't get along with your coach, you don't re-sign him. You let him walk. And I think what happened there is teams never like to, especially with first-round draft capital, you will see this in the NFL, you'll see it in the MLB, you'll see it everywhere, in the NBA as well. Teams hold on to first-round picks too long because they don't want to be proven wrong, right? You guys know I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But Kansas City would have cut him already if he wasn't a first-round pick. Teams don't like to be proven wrong. They just don't. And the truth is, Ayton is still on the team because they could have had Luka Doncic. They could have had Trae Young. Could you imagine what their team would look like if they had those guys instead of Ayton, who's not good? there's friction. There's always been friction on that team. Sure, they have cool jerseys. Cool, they had the Suns and 4 guy or whatever. But yeah, I think you got to fire everybody, and I don't know what you do now. I just don't. I look at you, lobsters. Huh? But yeah, I understand the injury thing is there. But Monty, I'm telling you, it's every time because you guys know I do these live streams, and what I normally do is I do like a post live stream, look at everything. And sometimes I'll put out. I'm gonna start doing this more often. I put an iTunes podcast up, but most people just listen on YouTube anyway. But then I'll pull up YouTube and pull up the highlights, right? And it is just amazing. Like, yeah, I love the NBA so much, but God, Monty would just get blasted on Twitter for not making adjustments. Jokic. But I hope Clyde comes back. But I was just pointing out an example. People don't like their first round picks to be wrong. They just don't. 81-51 at halftime. How? You should never be beaten in any playoff game at half without DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul. Even without them. The Clippers didn't have Kawhi Leonard and Paul George, and they made that series interesting. Doug, go on ahead, man. If you super chat, I'll go straight to any topic you want to. We got an NBA super chat. But you guys know I'm loyal to a fault to former New Orleans players. So outside of AD, FM. But everybody else, I'm fine with all other New Orleans Hornets / Pelicans. And Monty's a former coach of our team, and he's been through a lot personally, the tragedy and everything. And I think he's a good dude. I do. It's just this is the second consecutive year in an elimination game that this is happening. You should never be getting beat by 30 in an elimination game with prime Devin Booker and Kevin Durant. It should never happen. Also, what's interesting is it came out, Mark Jackson already issued an apology that we figured out who didn't vote for Jokic in their top 5 MVP selection. Mark Jackson said it was an honest mistake that he didn't put Jokic. Just saying. Somebody tonight took care of Game 6 on the road to end the series, and the guy won the MVP, well, on to Game 7 versus Boston. Now, here's what you're going to do. In the next 5 minutes, I'll answer as many questions as I possibly can, but if you super chat, we'll keep it going. Okay? God, I knew I should have found the preseason. And in Jokic. Can you believe it? You really think Paul Skeens is Joe Burrow on the mound? Pierce, I want you to see this. Look at this. Like it's 1987. Let's go. Look at that. Chance, you and Doug are the baseball experts here. Pierce, you know more NBA than anybody in here. Well, I don't know. Rome is up there. Rome's a pretty big basketball card collector. Should have gone Denver. Should have gone Denver. But now, ugh. 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 Pierce is like, what, me? Just want to let you know I'm not your average Joe. Don't forget, shop at powerhourlsu.com. Get your PHL merch here. Jared's favorite bottle over here. PHL. We support all sizes. Okay? powerhourlsu.com. Late Mother's Day gift. powerhourlsu.com. There you go. See? Everybody rocks it. powerhourlsu.com. Why can't he pitch 3 games in a row? I don't get it. Throw every game. Doug? Both are legit. I love it. Glad to know how you really feel about my merch. Glad to know. Cheesesteak still on you, brother. I said, Doug, I'm gonna come see you in Pineville. Oh, guess what? Doug said, we're going to get cheesesteaks. I'm like, what? Pineville's got cheesesteaks? No, he said, it's in Alexandria. That's where we're going. I love it. Need some keys. We'll work it out soon, man. I don't know. I don't know yet. Hopefully soon. Now, let's see. I am going to watch the end of this disaster. But here's the good news. We have a lot of really fun things going on at PHL. Don't forget, check out Power Hour SEC. Oh, a lot going on there as well. Let's see here. I'll show you this. Our SEC. Check it out. School stuff. We'll see you Sunday night, baby, for a Mother's Day live stream. It is Power Hour LSU, baby. Bam! And tonight we are doing pork chops, night 2. Let's